Give us the spirit of the child who lives within, the child who trusts, who imagines, who sings. Give us the spirit of the child who receives without reservation, who gives without judgment. Give us the child's heart that we may be filled with wonder and with delight. For to miss the delight of simple things is to miss the joy of this holiday season, which is its holiest secret. Our opening words today are adapted by David Rice Williams and Sarah Morse Campbell. We welcome you to our Sunday service in person and recorded for December 12th, 2021, 12/12/2021, for those who like numbers. And our title for the service today is Finding Our Hope. And it goes along with the Covenant Group theme for this month, which is miracles.
Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Shenandoah Valley. I'm Leslie Blackburn, your worship associate for today's service. We gather together with our doubts as well as our convictions, with our fears and our hopes, with our failures and our aspirations, with our sorrows and our joys. Whether you're joining us today for the first time or you've been a member or friend for many years, we're glad you're here. Whatever faiths you've known, if any, whatever your background, whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived here, you are welcome. Now, as Rachel Holt Parker comes forward, let us all say together here and from our homes the words for lighting our chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, to share. And I invite you to join with us as we say our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help our neighbor. To these ends, we covenant one with another.
For our Time for All Ages, we're in two parts again this week as we were last week. I'm going to ask Rachel Holt Parker, our new acting director of Youth Faith Development, to come forward as we light the Advent candle. And then once she has offered some words for that, we will also be lighting a solstice Yule wreath. And so we're covering all of the winter holiday bases here. If you're a little uncomfortable with anything, that's okay. We're Unitarian Universalists. We can handle it.
Good morning. One of the ways we celebrate the Christmas season is with the lighting of the 4 candles of Advent. Advent is the time of 4 weeks leading up to Christmas and in anticipation of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. Each week we light a new candle. The first candle we light is the candle of faith, and let it stand for our faith in ourselves and our children and for the good that is in all people. Let it stand for our faith in the human family and in the promise of a better world for us all. Let the second candle be the candle of hope, and let it stand for all the ideals and aspirations that have given light to people in times of darkness and given strength and courage to us and all people in times of trouble or hardship. Let the third candle be the candle of love. Let it stand for all the tenderness, kindness, and affection, forgiveness and caring that we have ever known and still have hopes to know.
In many households around the world, the traditional wreath is part of the holiday season. The circle of the Yule wreath here symbolizes the wheel of the year, the complete cycle of the 4 seasons, represented also by the 4 green candles today. In some old agrarian cultures in the north, people left their fields for the winter and put away their farming tools. They took the wheels from their carts, decorated them with greenery, and hung them in their halls as a reminder that it was time to withdraw from the demands of everyday life, a time to turn inward, to acknowledge feelings of cold and loss, the feelings of fear and longing, to await the return of the sun with a spirit of hope. Today, even though we benefit from some modern science with so many conveniences in our everyday lives, it's still important for us not to forget that we are part of the Earth's seasonal rhythms. And as we learn more about the dangers that we've created by not living in harmony with the Earth, such as climate change and much more, it is especially important that we remember to do our part to respect and honor this amazing living planet we call home. The placement of the 4 compass points of the wreath invokes the natural spirits of the north, the east, the south, and the west. Earth, air, fire, and water. The candles not only represent the seasons of the year, but also the seasons of our lives. And so now I'm going to invite Rachel to come forward again. And Leslie will lead us in recognizing the 4 directions. And I'm going to help you remember which direction is which, because some of us are directionally impaired. I had to get some mentoring this morning on that. So as we invite you to recognize each of the directions, I'll help to point which direction they are. You're welcome to stand and turn. These are short blessings. If you'd rather remain seated, I invite you to hold up either one or both of your hands and have your palms face the directions that we are calling out.
With the lighting of the first candle, we invite you to turn to the east. Spirit of the east, spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises in times of beginning, times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures. With the lighting of the second candle, we invite you to turn to the south. Spirit of the south, spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us. With the lighting of the third candle, we invite you to turn to the west. Spirit of the west, spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace. With the lighting of the fourth candle, we invite you to turn to the north. Spirit of the north, spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives. Blessed be.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Rachel. And now I invite you to turn to a meditation hymn, in our hymnal, number 55, Dark of Winter, and we'll remain seated as we sing it together. Soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my heart profoundly. And then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness soon, my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me. And when my soul may hear my voice, oh still small voice of love eternal. Darkness will fears arise, let your peace flow through me. Our words of reflection before the message about finding our hope today is a second part from the adapted reading that we used for our opening words by the Unitarian Universalist David Rice Williams and Sarah Morse Campbell. Let us enter into a delight, which is the natural state of childlike hearts. Let us withdraw from the barren world of hard, cold fact, if only for a time, that we may warm ourselves by the fireside of fancy and take counsel in the wisdom of poetry and legend. Blessed are we who have vision enough to behold a guiding star in the dark. Blessed are we who have imagination enough to wish for a world of peace, even in the midst of present strife. Blessed are we who take delight in simple things. Despite our contemporary stories of Scrooge, Santa Claus, or the Bethlehem legend, it is fascinating to think that for centuries around the world, human history has been dated by the birth of an uneducated peasant from a remote corner of the Roman Empire. Despite the miracles of the Bethlehem legend, including floating stars, angelic choirs, and a virgin birth, even Unitarian Universalists might find a miracle in the fact that Jesus of Nazareth was a human being with a moral character, personality, and inspired vision. Jesus of Nazareth challenged humanity in the tradition of the Hebrew prophets, the religious tradition of his birth and his lifetime. His singular life changed the course of human history. His story, his courage, and his teachings of radical hospitality prove to us as Unitarian Universalists or otherwise, that the birth of any child may hold the promise of a better world for us all. During the time in which Jesus was born, along with every human age before and after, there were those among us human beings on planet Earth that thought that we were living in the so-called end times. In Jesus's lifetime, of course, a whole new religion that was to be called Christianity was formed, in large part because his followers believed that this man was the long-awaited Messiah, a saving presence that offered hope in the midst of fear and despair. In the religion of Jesus's birth, Judaism, and in the parallel religion of his geographical region that emerged after his lifetime, Islam, Jesus is considered to this day not the long-awaited Messiah, but rather a great human teacher in the line of the Hebrew prophets that began with Abraham and Moses. That in and of itself is a miracle, not the same kind as a virgin birth, walking on water, or a literal resurrection from the dead, but a kind of miracle nonetheless. In these times in which we live, quite a few of us are wondering anew, are these the end times for humanity? For our beloved planet Earth? Where are we to find the hope to keep going, to somehow find a way to overcome the catastrophic conditions that plague us? Where will we find a guiding star in these dark skies? I don't know about you, but these past 2 years have been among the most difficult I have faced. And I dare say I have had more than my fair share of challenges in my short life. It's not just the personal challenges, but the larger picture of the world that has been hard to grasp. We have learned, especially since the onset of a global reaching COVID virus and its variants, that human beings are most certainly not in charge or in control of nature. We are still very much at the mercy of nature, despite our scientific knowledge and technological advances. I believe this increased vulnerability in these past 2 years has reached actually into all aspects of our lives. And with that vulnerability at times comes anxiety and fear. How will we make it through to better times once again? And an even more disturbing question, will we make it through? A few years ago, my Buddhist UU friends pointed out to me that hope is not one of the teachings of Buddhism. Human aspirations of hope in the Buddhist tradition are just one of our devices to grasp onto things in life that are familiar and comfortable to us. In Buddhism, instead of hope, the teachings of acceptance and compassion are put forward. The human challenge is not so much to hope against all odds, but rather to accept the reality of the world and our lives as it is. Just as tall of an order as finding hope in desperate times, I would say. The Buddhist tradition doesn't just ask us to accept reality as it is, it challenges us to open our minds and our hearts to a limitless expanse of compassion that is available not just in our lifetimes, but in every single moment. Some people would call that a miracle. I like this. It reminds me of our universalist heritage that asserts that if there is a God, he, she, they, as a creative force in the universe, must be a loving presence to all of creation, ultimately. And since all of this around us is not a machine, but rather a living system, always open to possibility, as universalists, we believe that we are never doomed to eternal damnation or certain cataclysm. There is always a possibility for new life that emerges from the least likely of circumstances. The truth of the matter is that it is up to each and every one of us to find hope amidst the sometimes brutal realities of human life on earth. We simply do not know what will happen in the days to come, but in the meantime, we can, if we choose to do so, live and love with all the faculties of our hearts and minds. We can believe in the resilience and determination that we witness in the miracle of life in countless forms around us each and every day. We can reclaim the childlike spirit we are all born with and which is our spiritual heritage, finding hope and even joy in the simplest of things every day. May it be so. This morning, as we prepare to hear our chalice singers once again, I want to lift up our Share the Plate organization recipient for this month, which is the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. This year celebrates the 40th anniversary of service by the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, which has grown to multiple distribution branches in 25 counties and 8 cities on both sides of the Blue Ridge, alleviating hunger in Western and Central Virginia, covering over 12,000 square miles. It's a big organization. They provide an average of more than 118,000 nutritious meals each month through a network of more than 200 food pantries, soup kitchens, schools, churches, and other nonprofit groups. In this, the coldest season of the year, please consider giving generously to the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. We now receive an offering to support not just the Share the Plate organization this month, but our church community within and beyond our walls.
Deck the hall with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la.
Here we come a-caroling among the leaves so green.
Here we come a-wandering so fair. unto you, and to you glad tidings too. And we wish you and send you a happy new year, and we wish you a happy new year. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha! Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
As Rachel extinguishes the flame, let us say together here and from our homes the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of our community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and in action. If you happen to be watching us online, we hope you will consider making an offering after today's service through our webpage, Shenandoah.org. This will allow us to exercise that generosity of spirit for this self-supporting church and its many ministries, which continue during this time when not all of us are able to be together physically. Thank you for joining us today.
Our closing words today are by the Unitarian Universalist Edward Searle. They're adapted slightly. If only for a season, let us banish cynicism and welcome wonder. If only for a season, let us downplay differences and discover the bonds of our human community and commonality. If only for a season, let's set aside some worry so that we might smile and laugh and sing. If only for a season, let us free ourselves from apathy and indifference and truly live by loving. If only for a season, let us subvert commercialism by remembering that we can be a gift to others, just as cherished others are the most special gifts we receive in our lives. If only for a season, a brief season of light, life, and love, let us be wise enough to be a little bit foolish about candlelight and children and all matters of the heart, if only for a season. Thanks so much for being with us today. Stay safe, stay strong, and we will see you next time.